This is the EQ13 from Beelink, a mini PC that's not only small, silent, and speedy, but also incredibly affordable. There's a version with the Intel N100 and another with the N200. So these are Alder Lake-based SoCs that feature 4 cores and 4 threads with a max TDP of only 25 watts in this form factor. This thing is so efficient it doesn't even have an external power brick. Our sponsor, urcdkeys.com, is having a back-to-school super sale, so if you need a Windows or Office OEM key, you should check them out now. What is an OEM key? If you buy Windows 11 directly from Microsoft, you'll pay $139 currently, or more depending on your region, and that's for a home edition key. But if you buy an OEM key from urcdkeys.com, you'll only have to pay $21.80 when you use my coupon code C25. And that's for a Windows 11 Pro key. These keys work globally and you'll get them within minutes. You can pay with a credit card or PayPal. After purchasing, just go to your purchased orders page and copy the key. And then on your Windows 11 install, type in Activate and enter your key in the appropriate field and click Activate. Simple and quick. You can also get Office 2021 Professional Plus at less than half the price with my coupon code C25. Check the links in the video description for your cheap OEM keys today. Beelink sent me the N200 model, which has a max frequency of 3.7 GHz, and included is a 500GB SSD with Windows 11 already installed and activated, and 16GB of SODIMM DDR4 RAM at 3200 MHz. The built-in power supply is passive, and the unit features a silent fan with copper heat fins connected to a copper heat pipe that cools the CPU, so it's whisper quiet. The loudest it got was 32 dB, which is lower than my ambient noise level, and that was topping at around 78 Celsius, which is impressive given the summer heat here in Portugal at the time of filming this, and this was while playing a 4K movie. One of the main reasons I want to get back to reviewing some of these mini PCs is another product that Beelink has announced, the EX docking station, which I'll also be taking a look at soon, and that I think could be the future of desktop PCs, but we'll come back to that in a minute. The EQ13 here comes in this navy blue color with no vents on the top or sides, with this nice unibody design reminiscent of the original Mac Mini. On the back you have dual gigabit LAN ports, and as far as wireless connectivity goes, it comes with 2.4G and 5G dual band Wi-Fi 6 support and Bluetooth 5.2. So with dual gigabit LANs, you could also set this machine up as a NAS. Also on the back of the unit, you get 3 USB 3.2 ports, 2 HDMI ports, the power connector, which again doesn't have a power brick attached, and the vents to extract hot air out of the machine. The air intake is from the bottom. And then on the front of the unit, you get a 3.5mm jack, a USB 2 port, and a USB Type-C port, and the power button and power LED. So compact but fully feature with a subdued minimalist design. As far as the internals, like I said, the CPU is the N200, although as the cooling here is not as limited as in a laptop, the CPU isn't capped to 6 watts, but rather to 25 watts, so you'll get decent performance for such a low-cost PC. The integrated graphics are the older Intel UHD graphics, clocking in at 750 MHz with 32 EUs, very basic graphics, so even though it technically supports HDMI 2.1, here it's limited to 4K 60Hz, which is fine for what this will be more commonly used. You're not going to be playing AAA games at 4K 120Hz on this integrated GPU. Now the EQ13 does support QuickSync and can output to 3 displays simultaneously, so you can use this as a video editing machine without issue, even for rendering and scrubbing 4K footage. Looking at performance, in Geekbench, the EQ13 scores 1300 points in single-core and around 3200 points in multi-core. Remember, this is the 3.7 GHz version. And I was running the high-performance power plan in Windows 11. You might be able to extract a bit more performance out of the machine if you tune it a bit. Running Crystal Disk Mark shows that the included SSD is running at SATA speeds, so this drive really is more of an OS drive, for which these speeds are fine. But if you want more and faster storage, there's an additional M.2 slot you can use, which will run at PCIe 3x4 for much faster speeds. The web browsing experience was great, and productivity apps run fine as you'd expect. 4K video plays great, so this could be a great portable player for you to carry around, especially as there's no power brick. You could consolidate all your media in a large SSD inside the EQ13 and carry it from room to room as needed, with just the HDMI cable to plug in, to watch movies but also to do some gaming. And speaking of which, just for fun I ran Cyberpunk 2077, and yeah, unless you love slideshows, this machine really isn't designed for demanding 3D games. I did, however, run Warhammer 40k Boltgun Forges of Corruption, which is an awesome old-school FPS, and it is a 3D game, and it did run fine at 1080p on this GPU. You should definitely check this game out. Nothing beats chainsawing enemies to exploding meat chunks. I mean in games, not in real life. Don't do that. Of course, 2D games is probably where this machine will be most at home, both in new indie titles and of course in old classics, especially through RetroArch. I plugged the EQ13 to my CRT and ran some classics through MAME. It's always good fun to revisit these. And despite all the negatives, Windows 11 does finally seem to fix controller support across the OS, so you don't have to fiddle about with janky drivers for older controllers, which is a huge plus if you're looking to use one of these mini PCs as a retro gaming machine. Now, like I was saying earlier, going forward, Beelink is going to be including a PCIe connector on the bottom of their mini PCs, so that you can dock these into their multi-purpose docking station, which can in turn support a full-size GPU with no loss to performance compared to a regular desktop. I did try an early attempt at something like this in the past, some of you might remember that, but what I like about Beelink's implementation is that it has a built-in 600-watt power supply. The components all fit in an aesthetically pleasing arrangement, and it's super affordable at €144 at the time of filming, compared to the more expensive external GPU enclosures out there. I think we're edging closer to a future where one can just slot in a bunch of stuff into these docks as needed, with the ability to start simple with just a mini PC and then add more components over time as needed to increase performance and capabilities. As APUs from Intel and AMD have become more and more commoditized and more powerful, these mini PCs are gaining popularity as they really fit into a lot of people's needs for very affordable prices. I can envision even a more pro-level dock where you can slot in two mini PCs and have one running Linux and another Windows with a KVM built in, and you can just swap between them for development purposes and other use cases. That's just an example. I mean, there's a lot of potential here. I just hope some standards can be agreed on so that you're not tied to a particular mini PC builder. Some sort of universal dock would be a great addition to this segment of the market. As far as the EQ13, as the title of the video says, it's crazy how much PC you get for the money with this thing. The N200 version is €250 at the time of making this, and the N100, which is only slightly less powerful, is €225, which is just ridiculous considering everything included and how well these perform. And no, there's no bloatware or spyware in the device, I checked, and Windows 11 comes correctly installed and activated. The EQ13 definitely gets my seal of approval for light gaming, productivity including video editing, and for media consumption. Check the description for some links to purchase it. And like I said, I'll be getting Beelink's dock in soon, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my video review on that. Thanks for watching, especially my Patreon supporters, and until the next one.